What is up, duelists? We're here in Brussels at the European Championship 2026, and I got top 16, 16th place. Not enough for top 8, unfortunately, with Chaos branded. So if you guys have been following the channel, you know I wasn't the most well prepped as I maybe wanted to be, but still pretty happy with how it turned out, even though, you know, getting kind of close still hurts a little bit, but wanted to show you guys the deck nonetheless. I really enjoyed it. I chose Chaos branded because it felt like the most viable mid-range grindy option in the format, and I really liked the deck, so I'm going to show you what I ended up with. All right, so first of all, we've got for the Chaos package these two beauties over here. Triple Black Chaos, that's the mandatory part. Triple Black Chaos, triple Grifo, and then also triple Celtic Mystic. My deck is a little bit more on the Chaos side rather than the branded side, even though there still is a pretty sizable branded package. But every time in testing, I tried one, I tried two. Every time I drew it, it was I really liked it, and it's really hard to increase the consistency on the Chaos part. And also playing through Ash Blossom is sometimes difficult on Mind Shuffle. This is a great bait for Ash Blossom, and basically the closest it gets to another starter for the Chaos deck, pretty much. Of course, it's not guaranteed to find you a Chaos card, but I mean, throwing 3 is pretty likely. Double Skull Archfiend. I thought about playing just one because the deck, one of the biggest downsides of this deck is the amount of like bricky cards and bricky hands you can draw sometimes. This is something you can cut down to one, but I was really scared of it getting banished by a Cool Tune Q, and just in general, having a second one helps you with managing your resources and having a second one to search on your opponent's turn from Mind Shuffle to get the second ritual and stuff like that. So I did like the second copy overall, but I did side out one against a lot of decks that weren't Cool Tune, especially going second. 3 copies of the Ragged Records of Rights, just another starter slash searcher. 1 copy of the Ritual Spell. This is something that a lot of people play 2 copies of. I was trying really hard to minimize the amount of bricky cards in the deck, like I said, and this is one that I think you can get away with playing 1 relatively easily. It does have some negative impacts to how you approach playing with the deck. You have to be aware that you only have 1 of it. It makes drawing it a little bit worse, because then if you resolve the Skull Archfiend, you have to send it from your hand, which is annoying because you lose a card for basically no reason. But ultimately, like I said, it's just about minimizing the breaks with this deck, because like here's another thing. Double Mind Shuffle, I just didn't have the balls, I guess, to play with 1 copy of this, because when you draw it, it's just so bad for you because these 2 cannot set it from the hand. I don't know who made that decision in card design to not let these 2 set it from the hand as well. But yeah, drawing Mind Shuffle is one of the worst things that can happen to you if you play 1. I sided down to 1 copy going second post side sometimes. And I lost 1 match because I drew the 1 copy. I drew this card going second more often than Fuwalos this weekend, unironically. But yeah, I think you do need to, because drawing 1 is just too bad otherwise. It's one of the biggest downsides of this deck. And I don't know why they made it this way, honestly. It's already kind of like mid-rangey and the ceiling is relatively low. I don't know why it had to be this bricky as well, but yeah, I just felt like, I don't think this is the best deck of the format. I just think it's the deck that suited my playstyle the most. But it was just a little frustrating that like a mid-range deck with a lower ceiling like this also has like this amount of bricks in the deck. But yeah, that's that. So this is the entire Chaos package, relatively big. And then for Albaz, 2 Fallen of White and 1 regular Fallen of Albaz, just because I'm not playing the bridge from Albaz to Chaos in the Soul Resonator. The only thing that I can do is, because I do play the Cartesia, I can make a Grand Grignol and I can send the Skull Archfiend from the deck to the graveyard with that, which does get me access to some of the Chaos engine. It just doesn't get me to Mind Shuffle. But it's still, like, I wanted the Albaz package to be able to grind games on its own, which is why I decided to play 1 of the OG Albaz. 1 Ecclesia, of course, and then 1 Albion, which is really cool because this lets you sometimes bridge into Branded. If you draw it, it's just a free way to bridge into Branded with Chaos, because you can send a Branded in High Spirits and then add it back with the Dark Magician, which is cool. So it's a good draw. It also lets Cartesia bridge into other branded stuff. Like if you go Cartesia, make Grand Grignol, send Branded in High Spirits, and then you play with the Chaos cards, you can add the High Spirits back to your hand with this as well. which I thought was neat. And it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, this is Upstart Goblin. Also, something that comes up sometimes is if this ends up in your graveyard somehow, because you go reveal it in your hand, chain High Spirits, discard it, or something like that, you can revive this on your opponent's turn with Rindbrum, and it's a high-level monster that you can bounce to your hand with Mind Shuffle, which is fairly relevant sometimes in this deck. Yeah. Then 2 copies of Fallen and the Virtuous. I do like this card. I like drawing it, but at the same time, I'm playing a lot of ways to Fallen of the White Dragon, so this felt a little redundant at 3, because whenever I draw it and I already have access to Albaz, I'm gonna get this card anyways. So I was pretty happy with 2. And then technically part of this package as well is the Farah. This one you can search with the Sword Soul, the new Sword Soul Synchro, which is just something that you can just add to your board if you have access to both engines. Basically, if you're going for maximum ceiling, which isn't that much compared to other decks in the format, but still, this gives you another interruption because you can add it to your hand, and then on your opponent's turn, search with Mind Shuffle, discard it, brings itself back, steals your opponent's monster, and then you return it to your hand with Mind Shuffle and have it for the next turn. So it's really nice for that. Didn't come up all that much simply because not very often I didn't have both sides of the engine, or I had to do other things with the cards because they were interrupted in some ways, or I was going second. I was going second a lot this weekend. I think my dice rolls were 6 that I won and 9 that I lost, but yeah. And that's it for the branded package. And then we've got non-engine, triple Harmonia, triple Fua, double Purulia. Just because I felt like this was a charmy kind of format. I feel like there's a lot of decks in the format right now that are very hard to stop with quote-unquote fair hand traps, but they're also very hard to board break with cards like Super Poly, which is why I ultimately ended up cutting Super Poly from the deck. Stuff like the Azamina version of this deck, Elf Nodes, Power Patrons, I just didn't really believe that I would be able to consistently board break them with Super Poly. So I decided to just prey on Charmies. The deck is 41 cards, by the way. I was debating between 4 Charmies and 40, or 5 Charmies and 41. Ultimately, I was a little too scared of going second to not play multiple Purulias. Didn't end up regretting it. 2 of the matches I lost out of the 3 were because my Charmies got ashed and my opponents basically just FTK'd me. So that is that. But yeah, and then the other match I lost was to Jordan, where I lost game 1 going second, and then game 2 I just bricked going first. So yeah, that was that. And then you guys saw the feature against Herman, and then I lost another game pretty much just like that. And then these 2 cards that should not exist are in my deck as well. Yeah, that's the main deck, 41 cards. Not sure if I would change anything. There was a couple of instances where I wish I played the bridge from Albaz to the Resonator, but ultimately I think it was fine this way. Yeah, no, I don't have any major complaints about it. Extra deck. Mirror Jade, mostly it's just we need a couple of synchros for the Harmonia package, and the rest is just utility for the Albaz stuff. Mirror Jade, Titanic Clad, 1 Albion, 1 Dragon that Devours Dogma, 1 Rindbrum, 1 Gran, and then I guess the somewhat interesting stuff. Queritus is here as a target that you can summon off of the Grand Grignol, but also something, this lets you reveal the Archfiend for High Spirits, which is a really good play if you have those 2 together, because that's also one of the reasons why I ended up playing double of the Archfiend, because revealing this for this, you get your Albaz search, this goes to grave, and it triggers, and it's pretty good. So that's why the Queritus is here. Also makes it harder to OTK you. If you have the Grand Grignol in rotation, just summon it, make your stuff 0. Because honestly, this deck doesn't make the craziest board, doesn't have insane amounts of interruptions, but if it survives 1 turn, the follow-up is insane. So if this can ever buy you a turn, it's really, really good. 1 Albalenitus. I just really wanted the Fallen of White to be as good of a push going second as possible, especially into Cool Tune if they think I'm not playing it. And then I can just steal their Zaylin, or get rid of their Zaylin for free. Came up a couple of times, I was happy I had it. And then 1 of the new card, Mixuzia the Confounder. This card's awesome. It lets you, it came up once that Albaz confused with something like, I think Elf Note Lucina is a spellcaster. I did that once. But mainly to make the Cartesia more powerful. Because now you can Cartesia into this with anything that isn't a spellcaster. And then this can go into Mirror Jade, which is something that you can normally only do with Cartesia if you have Albaz in rotation. And if the Albaz is in your grave or banished, then you can't make Mirror Jade with Cartesia, but now with this you can, which is nice. Came up a couple of times. So this is 9 fusions, and then I played 6 synchros. I wanted it to specifically be 6, because if I summon a synchro on the first turn, I wanted to have 5 left, so my Harmonia still does the maximum amount. So obviously the Ecclesia, the 3 Champions of Sword Soul, the Malong is pretty obvious. 1 Luluva Lilith to make the Harmonia a little bit better going second, because it can access your engine. This can summon Cartesia going first sometimes as well. You can summon Ecclesia with it, and I'm also citing the other Dogmatica Ecclesia, which means that going second, if I go Harmonia, send this, I can go end phase, summon Dogmatica Ecclesia, search Fallen into Virtuous for my turn. On my turn, I can then make Punisher out of those 2, which didn't come up that much because I wasn't maining the Ecclesia, but the 6th synchro slot was kind of like whatever, so I put Punisher. It didn't really matter that much. And then 1 Chaos Angel. I summoned it maybe like twice, because very often I was locked by Albaz into level 8. Didn't come up that much for me, but when it does, it's really good. So this is the one card that I really like. I only summoned this when I was losing a lot of the times. The rest I would definitely play again. This one is kind of flex, but I do think it has to be a synchro. I think Jordan, who I ended up building the deck with a little bit on Friday, ended up deciding to play Stardust Dragon to have a counter for Fallen into Virtuous. I think that's fine too. Maybe would have come up for me, I'm not sure, but yeah. And then side deck. 2 Lava Golems for some of the combo decks. I have drawn this card 0 times, so I can't tell you exactly how good it would have been. I had a few matchups where I sided it in, and I would have liked to draw it, but I didn't draw it, so well, that's that. 1 Magnamut is a crazy card going second in any matchup where you have a valuable target, even if against Cool Tune, because it shuffles your deck, searches you a Fallen of the White Dragon, or an Albion the Shrouded, or a Harmonia is really, really good. The 3rd Perulia, there was always going to be 6 Charmies between my main and side. I was just debating on how many in the main, how many in the side, and then yeah, here's the 3rd one. Like I said, the Dogmatica Ecclesia, this is for going first in general, but also in some matchups where the Harmonia going second, sending Luluva Lilith is really good. I put it in going second as well. Alongside it for going first, I'm citing Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis. This is just another way to increase the ceiling of your board, but which is surprisingly low, like I said already, but also this is important because it summons a high-level monster. And this is like one of the main things, because often I end on this and this. One of the main things you want to keep in mind when you do this is you don't really want to Mind Shuffle bounce this, because then the Mind Shuffle can get ogred, it can get Fallen into Virtuous. So it's really important to put another high-level monster next to the Magician of Dark Chaos. Sometimes that you just summon out a Black Chaos on turn 1 from your hand, or something else, or like ideally something like Harmonia, but Harmonia I have to hard draw. So this is a way I can search another high-level monster I can put next to the Magician of Dark Chaos, Black Chaos, and I get a negate out of it. In order to facilitate that for going first, I played 2 Nadir Servants, just more consistency for going first. I didn't want to side anything like Solemns or whatever. I was worried mostly about having consistency cards in the deck. This is 2 more ways to access my Albaz engine, and if I already have the Albaz engine, then I'll just go into these guys for a little bit higher ceiling. 3 Pot of Sloth. This card is probably going to be in every of my side deck moving forward. I love this card. Wasn't really that good for me this weekend, mainly because I feel like I was really unlucky with it. I drew 9 cards with it one time and didn't see a single board breaker, which was kind of crazy. And then I drew 5 cards in another game, and I was trying to find a way to start playing without getting like owned by Droll, and I found not a single play that didn't lose to Droll. Like after I put the cards back with Pot of Sloth, I didn't have... I drew High Spirits, like 2 of them, but no single card I could reveal for it, like double Celtic Mystic and like the Ragged Records of Rights or whatever, like literally no play under Droll, so that was that. But overall, it was a good card still. Won a couple of games after resolving it as well. 1 copy of Chaos Magical Hats for going first. This is a way to protect yourself from Evenly that is searchable. You can set it on the opponent's turn with Grifo, which is really easy to set up as long as you have a way to get into your Chaos cards. This was good for me. I liked it a lot. Won my round 15 with it in game 3. Had it against Evenly 1 time. They had a second Evenly, so I guess that didn't work out that way, the way I wanted, but still, it's a good card for this deck. I had some issues with it sometimes when like you do need 3 open board spaces to use it, which was an issue sometimes because I would just have to like end on less than what I could have ended on to make it live. But usually what I would do in those cases is I would summon like a Cartesia, and then when they go battle phase, I would just Cartesia my board into like something in the extra monster zone to make some room to make it live. so that was fine. And then 3 Evenlies. This card is in theory pretty good in the mirror match, even against the Azamina version. The Azamina version has an Omni Negate, but you have plenty of ways to bait it. Fallen into Virtuous, Second Evenly, Pot of Sloth. There's a lot of ways you can bait the Ilia Sylvia. And just like, it's good against Branded as well. I didn't play against a single pure Branded. I played some mirror matches, but pure Branded, which is one of the best matchups for the deck, I didn't face a single one. So I didn't cite the card that much. Also played against Zero Sky Striker, which the card would have been really good against. So yeah, I can't say too much about that. Honestly, the cards I cited in the most were Pot of Sloths and the stuff for going first, and then the third Perulia and the Magnamut. Those were really good. The breakers, quote unquote, like I said, I drew 9 cards with Sloth ones and I didn't see one of them, even though I cited all 5 against that deck. But yeah, no, that was the deck. Yeah, if you've kept up with the channel, you know I went into this tournament not as well prepared as I would have liked to, just because I've been incredibly busy and focused on a lot of different things recently. So I'm not unhappy with getting top 16 at Euros. Of course, I mean, I would have liked to make it further, but that is ultimately, I think, okay. I'm happy with how I did. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.